The social programming of women involves sacrifice. To be viewed as a good mother, a good wife, a good daughter, a good employee, just a good person. People look for women to take care of others and put others before they put themselves. This, of course, is more prevalent under any religion, but it's part of society as well. So even if you're not a religious individual, you don't follow any particular religious belief, you'll still get this kind of programming and these kinds of messages from society in general. That includes your friends, magazines, other kinds of media, and even sometimes our parents are socializing us to think that we should come in second and our needs should be buried under those of other people's. So let's put that into perspective. So I want everybody to understand where I'm coming from here. I'm not blaming you for having that attitude. I'm merely trying to point out to you what the source of it may be and to get you to question the belief that you have that you are not as important and your needs are not as important and getting them met are not as important as is some man's, okay? So this week on the channel, I kind of go through the comments and approve them. My cousin helps out. But I happened to see one, and I'm glad that I saw it before her because she would have just approved it and I may not have ever seen it. But a young lady, there were actually two things that I ran across. A young lady posted under the DNN video of Friday. She says, "Deb, you're so right about young women with a good head on their shoulders aligning themselves with dusties. That's what happened to a few friends of mine." And then she went on to share a story. My friend married a dusty. He went to jail, so they broke up. During the time they broke up, he was in jail. She completed her degree, moved out of California to Texas, became a homeowner, and had a great job in corrections and was in great health. My friend has lupus, and it flares up when she gets stressed. The dusty gets out of jail, and of course he guilts her about breaking up their family, so she gets back with him. He convinces her to leave her career and move back to California. They move back, and in less than a year, this fool commits a home invasion, and she gets caught up for conspiring with him and does 5 years in prison. My friend lost her career, her children, her home, her freedom, her retirement, everything. She can no longer work in that field. I visited her recently and found she's living in Section 8 apartments in the hood on state disability with no retirement, financial security, nothing, and failing health. Meanwhile, this fool is out of jail, divorces her while she's in the hospital during her lupus flare-up, and gets married to another woman and creates a whole new family. Ladies, always pick yourself before these men because the ride or die status is not worth it. Underneath it all, these men don't respect it because they know deep down they would never do the same for you. And that is very true. Unfortunately, so many women, in the example I gave on the Friday night show, young girls with so much promise head off to college. They end up dropping out because they get involved with some dust bucket and end up pregnant, or worse yet, they get involved in his criminal activities. He has them holding things for them, helping distribute, or she's driving the getaway car. All kinds of stuff goes on where these girls get caught up in nonsense, and the next thing you know, they're behind bars, and their lives are ruined forever. And now one of and it was really interesting how we had two women on the same page here. This comment was posted under a different video. And she pointed out how she'd asked 3 of her male friends what they were looking for in a woman. All 3 quickly gave me their detailed list. Then I asked what they could offer a woman. Crickets. Then one said security. I asked him what that meant. Crickets again. They had no idea what they could offer a woman today when women can provide all that we need for ourselves. And between these two comments, that's why I'm doing this video, because these issues are extremely important. And what I want you guys to do is to hear my argument for why you should become hard and cold and pragmatic and businesslike about any relationship that you get into. That love schmuv stuff, you got to let that go. Because, when you look at it, look at all the marriages and relationships and everything that are based on, quote, love. And the women are what's happening. They're getting abused. They're getting beaten. They're even getting murdered. They're getting, used and abused. The guy doesn't keep up his end of the deal. The women are lonely. The women are sad. The women suffer from major depression. The women are abandoned. There's all kinds of things that go on in these relationships. And unfortunately, when you go back and you think about what happened in the beginning, the women focused more on commitment, more on what this meant, more on, where is this going? Is he seeing other women? Is this, how does he like me? They worry about stuff like that. That seems to be the focus for most women, instead of what is this guy going to bring me in a relationship? Why should I give up my freedom, my body, my time, my cooking abilities, my emotional support of him, my emotional support of his children, my emotional support of his mother and his other relatives that I go out and buy Christmas and birthday gifts for and plan parties and events for and help them with other, things that they need because they're his family. And so I feel like I'm obligated to help them. You cook, you clean, you help with homework, you do everything. You do everything, but very few of you look at the value of those things that you bring into a relationship. So you never ask a guy what he's going to give you that's comparable. You never stop to think about that. You never ask the questions that are very important to ask, which are basically, what is it that he's going to be doing for you? So I caution you to think about this and to ask a guy, just give me a list. He wants you to be in a relationship with him, right? He proposes marriage. He wants commitment. He wants it to just be just the two of you. He wants, one-on-one. And he's looking for all this stuff from you. Most of them have a long ass list. They want all this loyalty and commitment and they want all this stuff. Okay, but when you stop, ladies, you got to stop. Don't focus on what he wants from you and meeting his needs and jumping around through hoops to try to, quote, get and keep a man. That's not how you handle yourself in a relationship. Not in this day and age, because you have your own. So you have to be very, very businesslike about it. And you say, okay, well, I'm hearing what you're saying. But I would like for you to tell me what it is that you're going to offer me and why I should say yes to your proposal. Why should I be in a relationship with you? How is that going to benefit me? What's in it for me? And a lot of you are probably saying, oh my God, I couldn't do that. That's too hard. Where's the romance? There's, the love, all this old stuff here. And I'm telling you, that stuff is cute. It's wonderful. I'm not saying it's not a wonderful feeling to have, but it must be balanced against reality. We are living in some very hard economic times, political times, social upheaval times. People don't have no money. It's, your kids are at risk from all these predators. It's just a hot mess out here. So you need to find out when a man is coming to you and he wants you to bear his children and have his name and give up your freedom for him. What do you get in return? What is he giving you? What's he offering you? Now, in part 2 of this video, I'm going to give you some ideas for some of the things that, that guys should be saying. They don't really seem to have much of a clue. Just like the young lady here, Vanessa, pointed out how she asked her male friends. I've asked men this question for decades and still don't have an answer. Because they do give very vague things like, well, security, love, I'll take care of her. I'll be there for her. I'll handle my business like a man. All this vague stuff. But what does that mean? Can we set up some specifics? What does that look like on the day to day? What kind of things do you do? What kind of things do you say? How is it that I can bank on you being the person that I need? Give me some specifics. You will wait and hell will freeze over and pigs will fly before you get an answer. But this is still a stage that you need to go through because realistically, some of these questions will be answered as you date and talk to this guy. You'll get to see what he offers you. Now, does that mean that he's going to give it to you? No. Does that mean he's going to give it to you consistently? No. Does that mean that you're going to be the only one that he gives it to? No again. So these are things, you can't jump to conclusions just because you see a certain type of behavior being exhibited during this, early dating phase where they be trying to get you. Of course, he's going to be Johnny on the spot. Of course, he's going to be very aware of, you and paying attention to you and all this kind of stuff. They will do all of that kind of stuff in the beginning in order to, quote, get you. But once they get you, what happens then? That's why you have to stop and ask these questions because it lets him know I'm not really caught up in the romantic fluff of all of this. It's cute and everything, but let's be realistic here. This is how you've been doing, but is there any proof that you're going to continue to be this way? Are you going to continue to be this attentive? Are you going to continue to meet my needs? Are you going to, up the ante with what you take on as responsibility for a household? For marriage, for a family, for children. Where's his mind at? So this is a very important conversation that you need to have, and you cannot feed him the answers. That's another mistake that women make. You say, well, I need this from you. Well, of course he's going to agree that he can give it. What fool wouldn't? You done already told him the script by having your big mouth open. That's not how you handle yourself. You don't help men. How many times I have to keep telling you? You don't help them physically. You don't help them financially. You don't help them mentally. You don't help them come up with the right answers for the quiz. Okay, they give it to you out of their own head. And you sit there with your mouth closed, your legs crossed, looking at him. That's all you do. You don't say a word. Okay, you don't give him any hints, any kind of, this is not a game show where you're going to be playing charades or something, you acting something out. You sit there and you be quiet. Everything, the stuff that he should be able to offer you in a relationship, and the reason why he thinks you should choose him, that has to come from his mouth. That has to come from his actions. That has to come from his plan for what he's doing in his life and how he's going to incorporate you and any children the two of you have together in his plan. He should be able to tell you that step by step. If he cannot do that, then he ain't ready. If he cannot do that, then you don't say yes. If he can't do that, then that ain't the man for you. Understand this. And the people are like, well, that takes all the romance out of it. No, what it really takes out of it is the stupidity. And it takes out the waste of time. And it takes out the exposure to nonsense and clown behavior. That's what it does. Because you can separate the wheat from the chaff. The real men from the, little suckers. And you, as a woman, you got to handle yourself better. I understand that few people have these kind of conversations. I really hate that older women have abandoned the younger women and not taught them these kind of things. This is extremely important. Things have just gotten all kind of topsy-turvy and upside down, because so many young girls have been thrown to the wolves and have to figure this stuff all out by themselves. This is just criminal to me. It's just so sad. So, there's more than 800 videos on this channel. I know it's a lot of information. I've been running my mouth for years. But this one, I hope, reaches the ears of a lot of young women in the age group where, you're trying to get settled and you want to have a husband and stuff. You're starting to look for a life partner. These questions are critical to you choosing a man who's going to make you happy long term, bring you peace of mind, who's going to have your back, who's going to be there for you. Okay, and not only talking it, you need to not only have him talk the talk, you need to see proof that he's walking the walk. A lot of you don't do that either. You run around talking, well, he said. Yeah, but what is he doing? Pay attention to that part more than what he says. I mean, the two should really match up. But if you're going to do anything, pay more attention to what he's doing than what he's saying, because he might not even recognize his behavior as being consistent and exhibiting integrity and all that kind of stuff, because that's just how he was taught, and that's what he does, and that's how he handles himself. So he's not going to necessarily identify it the way that you would. You see what I'm saying here? But he's going to be doing it, and so that's how he rolls through life. Okay, so there's going to be a combination of what you observe and what he tells you, but he should be able to provide you with a minimum of 10 things that he can bring to your life to make it better, to make it more peaceful, to do whatever it is that you need, so that you will give up your freedom, give up your other opportunities, and sign on to him and his program. This is very important. I'll finish, like I said, I'll do part 2 of this because I don't want to make this too long. I want to break it up so you have time to think about it. But you think about, in the meantime, you got homework. You think about 10 things that you need in a relationship of a personal and emotional, on a personal and emotional level, psychological, that kind of thing. What do you need from a man? Especially if you've been needing it and you haven't been getting it. You've been settling for other types of things, or you weren't even aware that you had these needs until the relationship blew up in your face. These kind of things are stuff that you have to think about before you choose a husband, before you start getting involved with somebody having a baby. These are things that you need to think about. Like I said, it's just unfortunate. So many young women don't have someone telling them these things, but you have me. Okay, so this is your homework. I'll be putting up part 2 of this video where I'm going to set out 10 things that I think that you should be looking for, that every woman needs. So there's going to be, you're going to put it in a different order, and you may have something, that you need that I didn't even put on here. But this is my list of things that I think are the foundation for a strong, wonderful, and solid relationship with a man. If he cannot provide you with these things, then he should be nixed immediately. Don't waste no time. Don't give him your heart. Don't give him your body. Don't give him your conversation. Don't give him your time, because he's not worthy. This is Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com and the YouTube channel Debsterism. Please become a subscriber. Hit that instant notification bell and the like for the video, and share a link if you got time. I'll talk to you guys real soon. Bye-bye.